Hello, ActiveSage here on the Sage channel, and we are back in the good old test world that we were using back when drones were first added. And I'm here because there's been some updates to drones today. Well, technically, I guess this is yesterday at the time of recording. This week's Space Engineers update has added the ability to have some basic AI that'll send drones after you, and I'll be showing that to you guys in a moment. First off, though, I'd like to show you something else, and to do that, we're going to have to sit on the ground right here beneath this drone, so I can access its control panel. I missed. Give me a second. I can do this. I did this earlier in 2 seconds. There, okay. And we're going to select its remote control system. We're actually going to select both, and we're going to go down here and look. Collision avoidance is now an option, so we're going to go ahead and turn that on. Now, this instantly causes an issue with this drone, because apparently the collision avoidance system doesn't necessarily take its actual body size into account. It takes sort of an overall area of the ship into account. So the ship basically says, oh my god, I'm about to hit the thing I'm hovering above, and it seems to do a left or right turn and instantly get it away from it, which is a bit unfortunate, frankly, because it means that instead of having the drone going along that course that I had it going on there, back and forth, in a sort of V shape, it instead goes up there, and every time it tries to go to the next coordinate, it looks at it, realizes, hey, that's within X number of meters towards an object, I can't move in that direction, and it spurges out and ends up just sitting there. The same can be demonstrated with this unit here, which is designed to go in a patrolling circular path just around this thing. Actually, I guess it's not patrolling, it's just a circular path. And if we can go ahead and get to the bottom, we'll be able to access it. And right about here? I missed it. Oh dear, dear. Of course, I can hover in front of this and won't cause any issue. There we are. Come on, let's get down there. I think this one is set to have a slightly different mode on. I missed. Dear Lord. Sorry about this, guys. 1 millisecond, please. There we are. And we'll go ahead and grab, I believe it's using the forward one. It should be, yeah, autopilot's turned on. So we can turn on collision avoidance. Once again, though, when we do that, it instantly tries to fly away because it says, hey, I'm too close to something, I need to get away from it. So it's really unfortunate that it's not taking into account, like, hey, I'm not actually going to crash into this. It just knows there's something there, tries to run away. What we can do is delete that, and in theory, once we've deleted some of this stuff, unfortunately quite a bit of it, it would appear, these drones should come back there, I would say. Yes, there we go. So now you can see they're coming back there now that there's nothing where they're thinking they're going to need to fly. They go, okay, yeah, I can go back there now and carry on my path that I was on earlier. It's a bit unfortunate, but that's how it currently works. So you got to remember, if you have a drone set on very specific paths, maybe going through your ships, turning on collision avoidance will in all likelihood cause them just to spurge out and stop doing their task. It's pretty cool nonetheless. They've also added some other features for, as I mentioned, enemy NPCs, or I believe I started to mention them. Let's go ahead and access this one's control panel down here at the bottom, right there. And we can actually go to the remote control system again. I don't think it's actually in here. No. You have to have a programming block, and now they have some programs that you can actually, well, I guess you have to copy and paste them in there, but you get the gist of it. It'll actually create enemy NPCs. So, to show that off, what I'm going to basically go ahead and do is load up another world that I have. And this is going to be a set world where all I did was put in a few Sage stations with some weapons on them, and then go ahead and basically toggle on the drones. In fact, I can even demonstrate that here. I'll just do that really quickly. We're going to exit this without saving. We're going to go to the load. We're going to go to the edit settings of this world. We're going to go to advanced. And we're going to scroll right down here. And now, cargo ships, by the way, it should be pointed out, they can actually call for help. So if you attack some cargo ships, they'll actually call for help, and other ships should come and help them. Remember, you have to enable random encounters, which is going to allow things to spawn, and then enable drones, which is going to allow those things that spawn to spawn other things to attack you. So basically, what this is going to add into the world are pirate bases. And these pirate bases will, from time to time, spawn out an enemy craft, an enemy drone, which is designed to go ahead and find you. And it doesn't actually look like it's added one into this world, or at least not one within distance of us. So let's go ahead really quickly. Once again, we're unfortunately going to be exiting, and we're just going to load into another basic world. In fact, I can even demonstrate this with just going to custom world, lone survival, creative, drone attack. We'll just go ahead, turn off autosave, go down here, once again, random encounters online, and enable drones online. Let's have spectator for our own convenience. And load this world up, And what I found is almost every time it seems to spawn one of these things in within range. Now you can, of course, jump away from this one, but it spawns them in sort of randomly throughout the universe. So you're going to always run into these things. And there we go. And we got lucky here, we didn't get one. Which is very odd, actually, because when I was testing this earlier before recording, we ran into quite a few. Let's go ahead and just spawn in a Sage Station. And the way these enemy drones work is they actually come after you. Not necessarily your structures, but you, a player character. Very unfortunate that we didn't have one in here. Let me go ahead and just load up a world where I did do the same thing I just did, but we had one in there. There we go. And see, this is a world that I had just loaded up in creative. It was the same as the one I had just shown a second ago. And you can see way over here, I'm using spectator cam to fly to it. You now end up with this nice little, well, no trespassers thing sitting here, basically yelling at you that, hey, what are you doing in my area of space? And these guys will actually send stuff out at you over time. I don't believe we're actually going to get, oh, well, nope, it looks like we are probably going to get one. It spawned an informant just then. Unfortunately, its turrets for half a millisecond seem to have attacked it. Now, what I did find out earlier when I was messing about is that I went ahead and messed with one of these informant drones. I actually went ahead and see, there we go. Now that I'm near it, it says target located. If an informant drone spots you, what it does is spawn in some enemies. Oh my god. And so now you can see, because I basically copied and pasted this over here, but I could have, of course, just flown over to it. It's, well, we might be in a real spot of bother here. Oh, we could be in a lot of trouble here. What has happened here is the informant drone has gone ahead and called in some guys to try to get rid of me. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 enemies inbound right now, and these are the new ones with the programming, and they are most definitely programmed to come after us. We need to make sure we have ownership of this turret quick. Lickety split. Oh god, one turret probably isn't actually going to be enough to save our bacon, honestly. No, not set to nobody. Set to us. You can see there's also a space pirate AI you can set things to be. That's what these guys are. Oh no. Yep, that one's already pretty close to us. And you see the enemy ships, they actually have some sort of AI that'll tell them to change directions and try to avoid letting you just unload on them. They'll actually try to circle around you, it seems, at times, and you can actually end up with some pretty hefty battles. Oh god, yeah, and you can see, because that informant did indeed see us, and apparently it saw so much of us, it actually called in 4 of these ships to give us trouble. I'm in creative mode right now, so I'm not dying, but you can see that if I wasn't, I would absolutely be doomed. So you want to avoid those informants unless you're looking for a fight. Yeah, I've gotten punched pretty far away now. Let's just go ahead and hop in the spectator and fly back over there. And you can see that these ships, well, because they're designed to follow people, they're probably going to actually follow after me, but also because they've now targeted our structures, it looks like 2 of them are busy in a combat situation, while these other 2, if you look, as I said, because they're designed to target players, they're actually still following my character here, which is very dangerous. It's kind of, I like the idea that if you intercept an informant drone, then you end up with these big, what are these called? Eradicators coming after you. Also, you might notice, if I hadn't gone ahead and messed with that informant drone, we would have actually had if we had given enough time, that no trespassing pirate base over there, it would have actually gone ahead and sent out some other stuff towards us. Over time, it'll send out, what are they called? Incisors, these small ships with just like one little missile turret or Gatling turret on them, and then also after time it'll send out these actual enforcers to try to eradicate you. Well, not enforcers, eradicators to try to eradicate you, pardon. Let's go ahead and just, since we are cheaty doodling here to show this stuff off, let's go ahead and delete these things. You can see they could be quite the problem. If you're inside an asteroid, you might be alright, because they won't try to blast their way through the walls of the asteroid, but they will indeed just hover outside the asteroid and wait for you. Let's go ahead really quickly. Can we catch up with that military transport? I don't think military transports call for help, actually, so we're just going to avoid that. We're going to go over to the no trespassing area there, and as we're flying there, if we get really lucky, they might actually spawn in one of those incisors I was talking about, which are, again, a smaller attack ship with 1 turret. All the ships I've seen so far, all the drones that actually attack you, except for the informant, are all just... Oh, no, what's that? Why has that just spawned? What is that? Let's go ahead and spectator really quickly and fly over there. Yep, it's another pirate base. So you can end up with quite a few of these. As I said, they're sort of randomly spawned throughout the universe. Let's go ahead and fly over to the first no trespassing pirate base, though. And I'm going to, since I'm in creative mode, cut it open and go ahead and fly inside there. just to show you that there are a hefty amount of supplies in there. If you were to actually try and take one of these, it's pretty nifty. You can get a nice armored ship and just circle around them, and hopefully your turrets will target and pick off all of their turrets, because these places are armored, and then you'll be able to go ahead and grind your way inside and slowly take over the systems. Be aware, you'll probably want to set your turrets up to actually have, well, you can use a mod, I believe, to set priority, but you'll also probably want to just go ahead and set your turrets up to be toggled on and off. That way, once all the enemy turrets are down, you can turn your turrets off and not completely annihilate the enemy base, because you want to probably get in there with your grinder, grind down a few things, and put them back together. That way you have ownership of it all. Let's go ahead and really quickly, character tools, get this stuff so we can just do that, even though we're in creative, we can just delete it. I'll just show you what I'm talking about on that. And you can see another informant ship just spawned in. I did cut forward, but another informant ship did spawn in. Over time, they slowly spawn more and more informant structures and ships in. I say structures. I've only so far seen them spawn in those small informant ships. No, stop shooting me. Stop shooting me. I might have to go to spectator and just get rid of those turrets. Because as you can see, even in creative, those turrets are pushing me back. If I was in survival, I would have died most definitely. Also, keep in mind that if you do sneak up on those informants, you'll know when they've spotted you, because they'll actually switch their text. So you can see right now that informant just says informant. If I was to go ahead and fly up to it, it'll actually go ahead and say target acquired, as you might have noticed earlier, and that's when those big enemy ships will spawn in. Let's go ahead and hop in spectator right now and not waste a bunch of time trying to avoid these turrets. There we go. And let's just get rid of the turrets. Excuse me, turret. Excuse me, turret. And you can see they're actually piped up too, so it's actually pulling from an ammo supply inside this structure. There we go. Turrets are now down. Let's go ahead and fly into it, shall we? And I'll also go ahead and show you really quickly, once I get in there, the actual code that's inside one of those larger attacker drones. Which I'll do that by basically triggering one of the informants again. I believe the door was over here. Yes. So easiest way I found to get in here. Unfortunately, you'd think that I could just press this button here, but access denied. Even if I grind this down and then build it back up, still the button unfortunately doesn't work. So this apparently isn't set to allow you to toggle stuff on and off, even if it's not owned, unfortunately. But let's go ahead, cut our way through here. It's going to be a depressurization of the first area, but this ship does have an airlock. Be aware there is a turret inside as well, though. So, if you're not in creative like me, you might have just died. You'll probably want to go ahead and have maybe some sort of hefty gun on your person to go ahead and try to get yourself, well, not killed, basically. And let's go ahead and open this door up. There we go. There's another turret once again inside. You gotta remember, you can find yourself in a really, really serious spot of bother. And there's also some pretty nice windows in here. But now that I did that, I think I can do that. Oh no, it's not going to open that door for me. Lame. There we go. I don't think I ground down that control panel. That was my issue. Anyway, there we go. We're now inside the nice little dinky pirate base. Ooh. And inside you'll see that we got a respawn bay. We got some timers over here, which I don't believe I can actually access. No. Let's go ahead and grind these down just so we can go ahead and look at what they're actually set up to do. So we ground them down, we built them back up, and now we can look inside them and set up action. You can see this one's just designed for lights. This must be an airlock control, and then this one is also, yep, airlock lights. Nothing too special with those two. Moving on from there, let's follow the pipes. It's got oxygen on this station. You can see it's got an oxygen generator, more oxygen tanks, a big cargo container over here. So if you do manage to take this place without blowing it completely to bits, you're going to find yourself with a fair few supplies. If you look in here, we got 1,000 computers, 1,000 motors, 100 of those, 100 of those, 500 thruster components. Those could be really useful sometimes. Reactor components, batteries, all sorts of useful stuff in here. A fair amount of supplies, especially if you're not playing in a times speed environment. That stuff could be really, really handy. And then, of course, we can also cut this down, and this other one has a few other supplies in it as well. You can see some serious amounts of ammo. If you're using modded guns, it might not be as useful. I would kind of like that, and to have maybe those as well as some other ammo types. Let's say, well, not ammo types, but just magnesium and other useful stuff. But let's be honest, you can always disassemble those. And then for the programming station, this is the AI that governs the station. I can't make heads or tails out of it, but it's pretty damn simple on this station. We can look at it here and it just says void main. I don't think there's actually anything is programmed in there. Now let's go ahead and look in here, but then we're going to trigger one of those informants. We just had a little bit of lag. It's like when something in the Matrix changes. Everything jitters for half a millisecond. I guess we're still alright. No trespassing, another informant. Okay, I guess we're alright. But you can see we got pirate TV and nonsense in here, sort of like, this is a little pirate cove area, this is where they sleep! I get the feeling the devs are going to eventually add a proper bed. We also do have stasis chambers in here as well, but there's nothing inside them, I don't believe. Let's grind one down, we'll see if a body comes flopping out of it. Nope, no body comes flopping out of that. That would be pretty funny if one did. Anyway, that's that for this place. Let's go ahead and get ourselves out of here. Since we don't really need the place to be pressurized, I just gone and done that. And let's go ahead and spawn another one of those informants in, shall we? Oh, I got the eradicator. We'll go ahead and grab an informant and spawn it in. Come here, little guy. Flying out to it in spectator. They're pretty cool little ships, too, if I do say. Just the two little solar panels and a few lights on them scanning about. You know, let's go ahead and grab you. Got ya! Haha! And then let's go back to our normal character here. I did see a little bit of lag. Oh, nope, we didn't have to do that. Look, one of them did spawn in right next to us. Let's go ahead and just trigger it. So let's get within range of it, and it should go ahead and say, yep, there we go. It's actually saying target located. And so now, it's going to try to face us, basically. I believe it tries to face us. Yep, there we go. It's got like a little ore detector at the front of it. And now it's like, no, 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 don't you get close to me. Don't you get close to me. And what we can try to do really quickly is, let's try to grind down some of these things. And I want to get to its computer system here, so we can just do a quick check on it. Hold still, hold still. This will only take a minute. I know it's a bit violent for me to be grinding down your power supply. It's like cutting out somebody's internal organs. But I need to get to your other systems in here really quickly. There we go. It shouldn't have enough power to do much now. Oh, it's still got some power. What the heck? There. Now what? Yeah, now it's offline. Let's get rid of this so we can get to those computers right there, because that's what we need. We need to check the computers here to see the AI, which is inside them. So here's a programmable block. We're going to grind this down to that point. I'll weld it back up, and let's go ahead and look in here and edit. And so there is some of the nonsensical code of this thing, which I don't comprehend whatsoever, but very remote, list 0, my eye remote control. It's basically using one of these coding computer blocks as well as remote control to control the ship. So if you understand that stuff, what you're going to need is absolutely a programmable block and a remote control block on your ship. And then you can just make a drone. And I'm assuming there's going to be more and more AI over time. So let's go ahead and look at this one. Yeah. And you can see here it is supposed to find, yeah, it flies in the opposite direction of players apparently. And then once it finds players, it's supposed to look at them. That's the general gist of it that I get anyway. And you can see this is much more advanced than the other older drones, which basically had just a bunch of sensors to tell it what direction to turn and look in. And what else do we got here? Another timer block. I think we can grind these down and get a look inside there. Oh, shizzle. Whoops. That went a lot quicker than expected. We can do this, though. Look inside there now. There we go. Whoopsies. Yeah, you can see this is basically apparently toggling one of these programmable blocks on and the other one off. It must be if it detects a player, it's going to do that then. So yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Yeah, I expected a sensor in there, which is kind of surprised. I don't exactly know how it detects a player, as it doesn't actually appear to have any sensors. It does have a speaker on it, so maybe if you're close enough when it first detects you, it'll actually play an audio thing, but overall, very, very impressive little drones. No idea how they work, because they are using programs. Ah, there's the sensor blocks. That must be set to detect a player, and then it probably toggles on a different, can I get to this, please? It probably toggles on a different program. So what's going to happen here is, on the right, this detects a player and probably hits a timer. Yes? Yep, it hits a timer. And what that timer block does is it turns off the one programmable block and turns on the other programmable block. So it switches from run away from player to basically look at player. And surprisingly enough, that one actually didn't end up spawning in enemies to pew at me. So let's go ahead and spawn another one and see if that one, yeah, target located. Are you going to spawn in enemies to shoot at me? Because I suspect they have their own program. No, nothing, no dice. What if I just spawn 100 of you? You're all going to detect me, surely. Well, so much for that plan, eh? Maybe if we actually fly out to another informant? I don't know. Yeah. Well, either way, though, I don't understand the coding, so me looking at it probably isn't going to help too much. Go ahead and look. The devs might have some more information for you. Oh, they actually all seem to be doing... I wonder if it's because I just spawned them. They're still going to, like, the let's fly the other direction sort of thing. And not set to just sort of stare at me yet. Oops. Yeah. Either way, it is all very nifty. I'm pretty excited about this update. I do get the feeling that it would be a bit nicer if the enemies, the numbers that they spawned in, scaled a bit to how much structure you actually had built, maybe how many blocks in the world are set to be owned by you, and maybe if instead of them chasing your player, they would just go after the nearest antenna or something that's actually within range, because it does seem sometimes like they can just find you. Either way, though, it does add a pretty hefty amount of difficulty to the world if you're not prepared to fight off a pretty, well, hefty drone attack. Those, not incisors, but eradicators can be pretty dangerous. And last but not least, before I end this video, the devs did also put out some more screenshots of planets, and one of the most impressive things they're showing is, well, different biomes. Look at this picture right here. They're showing a desert. It's all still work in progress, mind you, but it's pretty dang awesome. And they're even showing a ship theoretically holding itself up there using its thruster without you constantly having to spam thrusters, as you might have to do now if you go ahead and load up one of the test build worlds or have a gravity generator that affects everything. Pretty awesome. Moving on from that awesome desert, which it kind of reminds me of Westfall, we have a wonderful, awesome area here. I mean, look at these mountains. It's almost like something out of, I don't know, it's like Minecraft mixed with Zelda or something looking at it. You get the feeling that the skybox is a bit, I don't know, it just drops off over the mountains, but no matter what, it's an amazing sight. And I just imagine wanting to dig into these mountains. I hope they give us some sort of way to actually dig sharp edges in the mountains, because I really wanted to start carving. Next up, we have a same sort of view, but it's got a ship landed in it, to give you a bit of scale at the very least. The previous image, of course, had a man next to a pretty hefty tree, but this one shows a ship next to all these trees. And I can just imagine, hopefully they'll give us some actual in-game way of changing the voxels so we can have dirt paths and stuff and build up inside these forests. I honestly almost want a way to build thin hut houses or something of that sort, maybe medieval engineer style. I don't know, there is always the possibility for modding, so even if the devs don't do it, I'm sure somebody, maybe myself, will. Moving on from there, we do have a Martian planet. Each of these file names are actually named, so we do have, I believe it was called, let's see, Desert, Earth, and then this one is actually called Mars. It's pretty nifty. It's a Martian-like planet, I guess. I do hope some of these biomes will mix, like the desert and Earth-like one. We'll be able to have part of the planet maybe be Earth-like, part of the planet be desert-like. So, you know, like a proper real Earth. And then, of course, we do have another image here that I should point out is, well, it's pretty obvious what that structure is. But instead of it being stuck in an asteroid, it's stuck here on a Martian surface. Pretty interesting to see, though. And moving on from that, we have a one that was titled Moon, and also pretty awesome. Standard skybox. It's pretty cool to see. And then, of course, the next image actually is even better, and it shows Moon. Of course, you're on the moon of apparently a Martian-like planet. So it's, I don't know, it's awesome. And of course, you can even see a rover working there. It's gonna be awesome. And then I believe we have one more moonshot. Yep, it's the same one. Well, it's the same sort of thing. Anyway, guys, that's it for this update, and that's those awesome images that the devs also gave to us. Overall, pretty fantastical update. I look forward to these drones getting more and more advanced, and also, just a heads up, there are guides down in the description below. I haven't really looked through those myself too much, but I'm going to go ahead and probably poke at them. They have said you'll be able to create your own hell. Maybe you'll even be able to publish them to the workshop and they'll use them. They haven't said they will, but they might. Anyways, that is that. Thank you a bunch for watching. I hope you found this informative and most definitely informative in some manner. And, yeah, that's it. Talk to you guys later. Ta-ta.